One day, I saw something in a student's backpack that nearly gave me a heart attack. For a split second, it felt like time stopped. I considered myself lucky that when my daughter reached 10th grade, she ended up in my class. But there was another student who constantly bothered her and the other girls. He was always flirting inappropriately, and more than once it ended with the girls slapping him. I sent him to the office so many times that eventually I had no choice but to seat him in the front row. One day, he practically begged me to let him sit in the back of the room. I don't know why, but I agreed. The class was working quietly on an assignment. The room was completely silent when I suddenly heard whispering coming from the back. I looked up and saw him showing something to another student. At first glance, it looked like a handgun. It took me a moment to process what I was seeing. I tried to stay calm. I wasn't completely sure yet. My heart was racing, but I stood up and walked toward the back, pretending to help another student. That's when I knew it wasn't a toy. It was real. My hands started shaking, and I could feel sweat running down my face. I dialed 911 on my phone, but the room was so quiet that I couldn't say a word. I couldn't leave the classroom. My responsibility was to keep my students safe. And more than anything, I needed to get my daughter out of there. I immediately texted the assistant principal in all caps, explaining exactly what I had seen. I waited, bathroom, go find the assistant principal, tell him to check his phone, leave the school immediately. I tried to keep a calm expression, but she could tell something was very wrong. She left without saying a word, and I continued acting as if everything was normal. 5 agonizing minutes later, there was a knock at the door. The assistant principal walked in and casually spoke with a few students, as if nothing was happening. I think the class started to sense that something wasn't right. Finally, he asked the boy to step out into the hallway. As the student stood up and walked past my daughter toward the door, those few seconds were the most terrifying moments of my life. The moment he stepped outside, he was taken down and restrained. Later, I learned he had planned to use the weapon on another student during lunch,